In every town, in every city, and in every quiet corner of the world, there are people walking around with stories inside them that the world has not heard yet. Some of these people are dreamers, some are fighters, and some are silently carrying their hopes like fragile lanterns in the dark, trying to protect the flame from the winds of life. This is the story of a young man named Arav, who believed that one day his flame would shine bright enough to light the path for others. But before that day could come, life had many tests waiting for him. Arav was born in a small house on the edge of a busy town. His father worked long hours as a mechanic, wiping sweat from his forehead more times than he could count each day, and his mother stitched clothes at home to earn an extra income. They didn't have much, but they had enough love to fill the cracks where money sometimes could not reach. As a child, Arav did not understand struggle. He ran around, smiled easily, and dreamed loudly. His parents smiled when they heard him say he wanted to become something big. "Dream high," his mother always whispered, because your feet can only reach where your mind pushes them. As he grew older, he understood what his parents meant. Dreaming was easy, but life, he learned, was not. School was fine, but he could feel the pressure building as he got closer to his final years. Everyone expected him to do something great, but no one saw how scared he really was. He wanted success, but he did not know the right path to reach it. Every night, he sat with books open in front of him, trying to learn, trying to understand, trying to believe that he was enough. But sometimes the words blurred, and he felt like the world was moving too fast while he stood still. After finishing school, Arav wanted to study further, but money was a wall in front of him. His father looked at him with tired eyes filled with silent apology. "I wish I could give you everything," he said. Arav shook his head and smiled, even though his heart felt heavy. "I will find a way," he replied, and he meant it. He started working part-time jobs, lifting boxes in a warehouse, delivering food, sweeping jaws in a small shop, anything that gave him a little money. He saved every coin, every note, even when he wanted to buy small things to feel normal. But he didn't. He reminded himself that struggle today would give him success tomorrow. During those days, people judged him. Some laughed, some whispered, some wondered why he worked so hard for something that didn't seem realistic. "Why don't you just accept life as it is?" they asked. But Arav refused to shrink his dreams just because people around him had small minds. He wanted more, and he was willing to sweat for it. One night, while returning from work, tired and drenched in rain, Arav stood under a street light and looked up at the sky. He felt lost, but something inside him whispered, "Keep going." He didn't know where that voice came from, but he listened. The next day, he applied for a scholarship exam. He studied at night, fought sleep, pushed through exhaustion, and ignored the doubts that tried to creep into his thoughts. He reminded himself of the promise he had made, to himself, to his parents, to the dream that lived inside him. Months passed. Nights felt longer. Days felt heavier, but he kept moving. Finally, the day of the exam came. He sat in the hall, hands shaking slightly. He looked at the paper and felt overwhelmed for a moment. But then he remembered the streetlight night, the rain, the struggle, and the voice that told him to keep going. He took a deep breath and began writing. When he walked out, he felt unsure but hopeful. Days later, when he got the result, he stared at the message on his screen, unable to breathe. He had passed. Not only passed, he had earned the scholarship. His parents cried, tears he had never seen before, tears filled with pride and relief. For the first time in a long time, Arav felt like the world was finally listening to him. But this was only the beginning of his journey. With the scholarship, he moved to a new city to study. The city was bright, loud, and full of people moving in every direction. It overwhelmed him, but he was determined to adapt. His classmates came from different backgrounds, some wealthy, some not, but many of them did not understand the kind of struggle Arav had lived. Sometimes he felt out of place, sometimes he felt small, but he reminded himself that he had earned his place not through luck but through hard work. He kept studying, kept learning, kept growing. But like every journey, this one too had hurdles. His part-time job took long hours and sometimes he missed classes because of it. His grades dipped once and he felt the fear of failure touch him again. He could almost hear the voices of people back home saying, "See, we told you, big dreams don't suit small people." But he refused to believe that.
One evening, while standing on the balcony of his hostel, watching the city lights flicker in the distance, he felt a strange calmness wash over him. He whispered to himself, "This is my struggle, not my end." And with that, he made a decision. He would push harder. He would fight stronger. He would wake up earlier, stay up later, and give everything he had. And he did. Slowly, he caught up. His professors began to notice his effort. He started asking more questions, reading more books, taking more notes. His classmates started coming to him for help. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was rising. Years passed. Arav completed his education with high honors. He received a job offer from a well-known company, something he once thought impossible. His parents could not stop smiling, and for the first time in a long time, the house felt lighter, filled with laughter instead of worries. When Arav joined the company, he stepped into a world that was bigger and tougher than anything he had seen before. Meetings, deadlines, targets, it was a new battlefield. But battles didn't scare him anymore. His past struggles had turned into his armor. His failures had become his teachers. His journey had made him stronger than he realized. At work, he gave everything. People noticed his discipline, his patience, and his quiet determination. His manager once told him, "You don't talk much, but your work speaks loudly." That stayed with him. Within a year, he earned his first promotion. Within 2 years, he became one of the most reliable people in the company. Within 4 years, he led his own team. And within 6 years, he became something he once only dreamed about, a person who inspired others. But Arav didn't stop there. He saved money, invested wisely, and eventually started his own small company. It wasn't easy. Nothing ever was for him. But he had learned that the road worth taking is always the one that challenges you the most. The first year was messy, filled with long nights, failed attempts, and unexpected setbacks. But he kept going. He had learned that storms don't come to break you, they come to prepare you.
His company slowly grew. People trusted him because he understood struggle. He valued hard work because he had lived it. Every employee he hired, every project he accepted, every decision he made, all came from a place of experience. Little by little, the small company became a respected one. Arav's life had changed. He now lived in a place where lights didn't flicker and where returning home didn't mean worrying about the next day's meals. But despite the success, he never forgot the nights he worked until midnight, the mornings he woke up before the sun, or the days he fought tears because life felt too heavy. Those memories kept him grounded. They reminded him of who he was and how far he had come. One day, he was invited to speak at a seminar for students. Standing on the stage, looking at hundreds of young faces filled with hope, fear, dreams, and confusion, he smiled gently. He began by saying, "I was once where you are, lost, tired, confused, unsure. But I want you to know something. Struggle is not a punishment. It is preparation." The room fell silent. The kind of silence that tells you hearts are listening closely. He continued, telling them about his journey, not to brag, but to show them that success doesn't happen overnight. It grows slowly, like a seed hidden under soil, pushing through darkness until it finally sees the light. Do not run from hardship. Let hardship shape you. Let it strengthen you. Let it teach you what comfort never will. After his speech, students came to him with questions, gratitude, and admiration. Many said his story inspired them. Some said it gave them hope. And in that moment, Arav realized something important. His success was not just his own. It belonged to everyone who believed in him, everyone who doubted him, and everyone who would learn from his journey. As he left the auditorium, he felt the same whisper he had once heard under that streetlight in the rain. But this time, it said, "You made it." And he smiled, not with pride, but with gratitude. But the story doesn't end there. Success, he learned, is not a place you reach once. It is a journey you walk every day. There were still challenges, still obstacles, still moments of doubt. But now he faced them with confidence. He knew the formula. Struggle today, success tomorrow. He began supporting students from poor backgrounds, offering scholarships, mentoring them, giving them the chance he once fought so hard for. He believed that real success is when you lift others as you rise. His company grew, not just in size, but in values. People admired him for his integrity, his kindness, and his willingness to help others. One evening, he visited his old town. The narrow streets, the broken sidewalks, the small houses, they brought memories rushing back. He walked to the place where the streetlight once stood, the same place where he questioned his path years ago. The light was still there, glowing softly. Arav stood under it and felt a deep warmth in his heart. This streetlight had seen his fears, his tears, his dreams, and his determination. And now it saw his victory. He whispered, "Thank you," not to the light itself, but to life, to struggle, to the journey that shaped him. He realized that without those painful nights, those harsh days, those doubts and failures, he would never have become the person he was now. As he walked back home, he passed a young boy sitting with his books under the same streetlight. Arav stopped. The boy looked up nervously. "Studying?" Arav asked. The boy nodded. "It's quieter here," he replied. Arav smiled because he saw himself in that boy. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small notebook, and handed it to him. "Keep going," he said softly. "You will reach where you dream to go. Struggle today, success tomorrow."
And in that moment, Arav knew that his story, his struggles, his victories, they were now part of something bigger. A cycle of hope, a chain of dreams, a reminder that no matter where you come from, no matter how many obstacles stand in your way, no matter how heavy the burden feels, if you keep moving, if you keep believing, if you keep trying, the world eventually opens doors you once thought were locked forever. Because the truth is simple but powerful. Success does not belong to the lucky. It belongs to the relentless. And Arav's life became a living example of one timeless message that every heart needs to hear. Struggle today, success tomorrow, always.